Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk for a few minutes about the Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Pete Davidson sort of clusterfuck that is playing out on social media right now. I had some thoughts, but I wanted to look at it from a little bit of a different stance instead of just talking about the drama part of it. I want to talk about the implications that this could have and also what could happen if this keeps going. So either way, if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so as you know, I have been critical about Kim Kardashian. I've mentioned other Kardashians and Jenners in other videos on completely different topics, but I haven't talked about her and Kanye, their relationship, their divorce, their marriage, anything along those lines. And I think all of us, if you're even on the internet just a little bit, I'm sure that you're very well aware that Kanye has been just completely flying off the handle as of lately. And Kim has done a good job of avoiding it to a certain degree. I've seen her only respond publicly a couple of times to these claims that he's putting out in all the videos and tweets, and there's honestly just been a lot of scary stuff that he's been saying, and considering the volume of what he has said versus the times that she has responded, there is an obvious imbalance there. And so I want to first recognize that she has not really replied to a lot of this. I don't want to insert too much of my personal story, but I will tell you guys how I'm relating to this. You guys, some of you might know that my parents divorced when I was a baby, so I have no memory of my parents residing in the same home together. All of my memories are separate houses, separate birthdays, separate bedrooms, all of that. I think about being a young child. I was around North's age when we started going through custody stuff, and I had a guardian ad litem and all of those kinds of things. So I go back to when I was going through all of this, and I try to imagine, what if my parents' divorce was playing out on social media? What impact would it have had on me as an adult now? Now, custody and divorce and having a split household, that had an impact on me, and none of it played out on social media or on a public stage. So that's the first thing that I really worry about. I really worry about the impact that this is going to have on her kids, and I know that they are in a financial position to have all the kids in therapy and focus on counseling, and that's fantastic. But that's not to say that it is a foolproof plan to make sure that these actions don't impact these kids as adults. So will it help to make sure that they're, getting the help that they need? It will. But what would help even more is if Kanye specifically could stop allowing himself to fly off the handle on social media. I know this is easier said than done, so I don't want to just come on and say, oh, well, it should not be happening and all this kind of stuff. I know that there are mental health issues here at play. There's a lot of emotion involved, especially because clearly, Kim has fully moved on, and she's in a full-on relationship with Pete Davidson now, and it's very public, and she's no longer hiding it because she is divorced. It has to be painful for Kanye to see these photos of her and Pete. Even if he says that he's moved on, there still has to be some pain there. Let's just be honest. This is the mother of your children. This is someone who you spent a very long time with. So I know that there is some sort of pain still there, whether or not he would want to fully admit it. So I really worry about the impact on the kids, obviously. But I was thinking about this the other day, and people are really utilizing Kanye's rants and all of this odd behavior that he's exhibiting, and the things that Pete will respond with, and then once in a while when Kim responds. All these things that are playing out on social media are really becoming a form of entertainment for a lot of people. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's Kanye going to say next? What tweets he going to put out and then delete? It has sort of turned into public circus that people are seeking out as a form of entertainment. And anytime a celebrity goes through something like this, I automatically think, what if there was no money involved? So what if instead of Kim being a multimillionaire, you know, Pete's obviously well off too, Kanye's well off, like this entire family has so much money and worth tied up in them. What if instead of Kim, it was a mom who was working a 9-to-5 job or a retail job? What if it was a mom going through this divorce? She finally got up enough courage to ask for the divorce, and her income, her cash flow was just from her, you know, job that was making a median salary or a lower end salary, let's just say. And she is now not only having to worry about paying for a divorce, but she's having to worry about how to pay for her bills, how to make sure that her kids are still able to either go to daycare or you know, a babysitter, or have what they need for school, whatever the arrangement is. She needs to make sure that that keeps going, because obviously you have to take care of your kids through a divorce. Can't just put that on hold. And then she's also having to worry about, on top of paying for a household of bills, making sure that she's able to feed her kids, all while she is going through a divorce that she knows is going to be good for her once it's done. But all of these things are playing out, and instead of it being a civil separation, let's just say that her soon-to-be ex-husband was acting like Kanye and flying off the handle and acting crazy and making threats and really displaying some really scary behavior. Kim is in a financial position where she can pay for the best security, the best bodyguards, 24/7 monitoring of her house. Like, she basically lives on a compound. So when I look at situations like what Kim is going through, I automatically think of the everyday person who's going through this. And it is so scary. I have heard so many times of these types of situations where the woman will go to local law enforcement, and it's basically like pulling teeth to get a restraining order. Then the ex-husband will break the restraining order because he is having, you know, mental episodes where he just doesn't care any longer. And the woman, instead of being able to pay for 24/7 security and bodyguards when she goes to the store, she can't afford any of that, because she is literally trying to keep a roof over her head. She's trying to make sure that her kids are taken care of and they have dinner every day. And they have food to take for lunch and, you know, something to have for breakfast in the morning. So, and I realize, like, it's kind of comparing apples to oranges. I also think about, with Kim going through something like this, what is something that she could do that would actually be really good for women who are going through something similar but don't have the financial means that she has? In my opinion, I know that a lot of people don't care for Kim, but this would be the perfect opportunity for her to come out with some sort of organization or nonprofit that helps offer protection of some sort, or some sort of like an outreach program or something along the lines, to help women that are in these positions and can't pay for bodyguards and cameras and all this kind of stuff. Maybe it's something where the nonprofit will automatically install cameras on your house if you're in a position of, I have a restraining order and I'm literally trying to feed my kids, but I also need to have some sort of proof that this guy keeps coming to my freaking house and I don't have money to buy cameras. Maybe it could be something, some sort of organization that could help with that. There's just things that Kim could do with her money that could help women that are not in such a privileged position as she is. You guys know that I listen to a lot of true crime, whether it's podcasts or TV or YouTubers. Not as much on YouTube, a lot of podcasts and stuff on TV. But I hear about these situations where, and don't get me wrong, it's not just women, but a lot of times the stories that I've heard are of women, but not saying that it can't happen to men too, where they're going through a divorce and the woman, can't pay for protection. She can't buy herself a gun. She can't buy herself a taser, just because money's tight and she's got kids to take care of and now a house full of bills that she's not prepared to pay for. And things will get very scary and get very serious. And usually because the woman cannot pay for bodyguards and to live in a compound, sometimes things end really badly. And then when you think about it, these kids went from having a divorced set of parents to one parent in prison and one who has lost their life. It's really such a tragic set of circumstances to think about. But as soon as I saw this kind of unraveling and Kanye continuing to exhibit some really scary behavior on social media, my mind automatically went to some of the stories that I've heard of divorces happening. If the person was able to afford some protection for themselves, they might still be here today. There are a ton of these stories online. All that you have to do is, literally use Google. But I want to read this one because this is a good example of, not only a restraining order being denied when someone asks for a freaking restraining order against a spouse that they are going through a separation with, that's something that law enforcement officers really need to look into. I hear about this way too often where restraining orders are denied, and I don't understand why. If any of y'all work in law enforcement or you know a better answer than I do, please enlighten me down below. But if someone comes to the police and says, I am going through a separation or a divorce with this individual, and these things have been happening, and I would like a restraining order because I am fearing for my safety, that should be granted. Bare minimum, give one for 90 days while you do an investigation so that that person can feel a little bit safer when they're at home. And this just happened November 2021, so this is very recent. A Washington woman's request for a permanent restraining order against her husband was denied last year. In the petition, she wrote about fearing for her and her 8-year-old son's life. McClatchy News is declining to identify the man and woman to protect the identity of their child. She filed for divorce when that failed. Her husband showed up at her home on Sunday, November 7th after 10 a.m. and stabbed her to death, Vancouver police said in a probable cause statement. Their son was in the home. Her restraining order petition from July 8, 2020 is detailed with moments where she said she experienced emotional, verbal, and physical abuse from her husband, who she said also had a painkiller addiction. One time he even grabbed a large knife and sat outside her bedroom threatening to kill himself. I am terrified if he does. What if he kills me and our son? The woman wrote in the restraining order petition. Officers said they found the man with a knife in his hands, which were colored red when they arrived at the home. The woman was given medical aid and then transported to a local hospital where she later died, police said. The husband told authorities he stabbed someone named Starbeast to fulfill a prophecy, according to the probable cause statement. Once at the police station, he said that he drove to his wife's house with a knife and a Bible. Then he said he killed her in cold blood, the statement says. He was arrested and booked into jail on a first-degree murder charge. His bail was set at $2 million, and his arraignment is scheduled for November 19th. The months leading up to her death, the woman filed for a divorce from her husband August 2020, more than a week after a judicial officer denied her a permanent restraining order for protection. Their divorce had not been finalized when she was killed, but the couple had been living in separate homes, police said. In her restraining order request, the woman said that her husband had choked her and kicked their son that was 7 years old at the time. She also said that he used weapons to threaten her. There have been times where we've argued and he's put a knife by our bed. Those nights I slept with my son and I was too scared to sleep, she wrote. A GoFundMe was created to help her family bring her body to California for a proper burial. Every year, 10 million people are physically abused by a partner, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. On average, 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States, according to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. So that is just one story of many. But there are a lot of these where there's a separation happening or a pending divorce, and either a restraining order is not granted or it's violated and something really scary happens. And I just think of, if you want to take Kim Kardashian and take all the money and wealth away from her, I don't think that what's happening with Kanye would be an entertaining story to giggle at and kind of guess what's Kanye gonna do next. It's in fact very scary, and I understand that some people have entertainment in different things, and that's completely whatever. But I just wanted to talk about the other side of this, because as soon as I saw these things unfolding, I really thought of some of the other cases that I have heard of where things do not end well, and a lot of it has to do with usually the victim not being able to afford security and protection for themselves. So I don't know, I'd like to see Kim Kardashian. She's got this interest in legal things and law things and all of this. Someone with her status of wealth could do something really big with an organization to help women that are in these dire situations of going through separations and divorces, with people that either have mental health issues that are not being taken care of properly, or they're just someone who's not taking the separation, very well, because both definitely exist every single day. So either way, for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.